back. I hope you've had a fantastic, glorious week of the Crimbo Limbo, and happy end of 2024. Happy almost beginning of 2025. Today's episode title is Letting It Go Like an It Girl. We are going to dive into Enneagram tips for closing the year with grace. We're going to release the weight, we're going to reclaim your light, and we are going to enter this brand new year as your most radiant self. I can't wait, so let's dive in. Oh, but wait. Firstly, I've realised I don't really have anything festive, and I wanted to be really comfortable today. That was Sophie snoring, if you just heard that. Sophie's my rescue dog. She sat just behind you guys. Firstly, I wanted to be really comfortable. So if you're watching on Spotify, by the way, if you didn't know that, if you're listening on Apple or YouTube, if you head over to Spotify, all of my podcasts are now visual podcasts, and you can watch those in the Spotify app. But I wanted to be really comfortable today and a bit festive, so I have a hot chocolate. Oh, so nice. And I'm wearing my relaxing at home clothes. Pajamas. I'm wearing pajamas. This is as festive as I could get. It's pink. I look like I'm dressed for Valentine's Day. But that was my kind of nod to being in Crimbo Limbo. I hope that you are feeling super comfortable as well. Maybe you're in some brand new Christmas pajamas. Does anybody else get Christmas pajamas each year? How exciting! So I just wanted to note that if you want to grab a hot chocolate and join me, I would highly recommend it. Highly. Definitely do that now. Take me with you. Let's get really cozy and sink in to today's episode. So tell me if this sounds like you. Picture this. It's the end of December. The champagne is chilling in the fridge. The vision boards are calling. And yet, there's this weight. Disappointments. Unmet expectations. Plans that didn't quite land this year. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. You don't have to carry all of these things into the new year. In fact, we are going to, as much as possible, lay them down in today's session. And we are going to be raring and ready to go for the new year at the end of this episode. I also wanted to say at the top of this episode that letting go is not giving up. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is making room for something better. And if that sounds exciting, and if that sounds like something you really want, then you're in a really good space. So here's my It Girl philosophy on letting go. Letting go is the ultimate It Girl move. It's saying, I choose me over this version of life that I thought I needed. I choose me. And there's a ton of psychology behind why we hold on to things. Our brains always cling on to the past because of uncertainty and fear of the unknown. Holding on to disappointments keeps us stuck in the loop of self-criticism and regret. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to step away from that and step into something way more radiant and way more beautiful. I also think it's really helpful to do a little bit of a type 7 reframe and query and question if those disappointments were just really helpful lessons in disguise. What if every no this year has been leading you to a better yes? That changes everything. What if every no this year was leading you to a better yes? I wanted to share my glow up formula for releasing disappointments. I think very few things in life can have a formula, but I do think using this process to help you let go at the end of the year could be helpful. And I think what we always want to be moving towards is letting go with honesty. And so step one is the power of the honest audit. if you can, think about what hasn't gone well, what didn't go as planned this year. Take a moment. There's no rush. And you might want to pull your notes app out. You might want to grab your journal. But try answering the question, what did I expect? Why does this matter? And what did I learn? What did I expect? Why does this matter? And what did I learn? Because this isn't about dwelling. It's about being really, really honest and getting into a space where we can really understand and make sense of what's gone on. If you listen, disappointment holds a lot of wisdom. And that is what I'm inviting you into right now. Okay, step 2 in my non-formula formula. Let's reframe. Time to rewrite the narrative, yeah? I want you to shift your perspective. If every setback is a setup for something greater, how could you view your so-called failures as redirection? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What does that sound like? You might want to make some notes. And instead of answering the question, why didn't this happen? Or why did this happen? Because we actually might never know. Could you instead ask, what is this making space for? What is this making space for? And you might want to sit with that for the rest of the session. You might want to come back to that as we continue in today's episode. And I wonder if tonight or tomorrow, it might be nice to do a little ritual for closure. And I'm talking really simple, lighting a candle, or if you have a fire, lighting the fire. Write down your disappointments on paper, read them aloud, and then let them go. Throw them into the fire, or in a really, really safe way, hold the paper with tweezers and let it burn in the candle. And you can imagine that as the paper burns, so does the weight of these disappointments, these setbacks, these hard moments from 2024. And what you're doing is you're releasing the old in order to make way for the new. You're releasing any of that stagnant or stuffy energy, and you're making way for the new, clear, crisp, wintry air of 2025 to come rushing in. Lovely. Let's talk about how each Enneagram type can shift from disappointment and turn it into a stepping stone for growth. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ever wasted. Might feel like it is. It's not. Let's talk about type 1s first. Okay, I've taken some creative license with guessing what each Enneagram type's disappointment might sound like, because I've been doing this work for a while and none of it's surprising at this point. I'm kidding. But do listen out for your stress type as well, because that could be a good indication of if you're really in that stress number. If you are new to the Enneagram, firstly, scroll down to the show notes. My free Enneagram quiz, that is going to tell you which Enneagram type you are, so you know which type to listen out for. If you've been doing this work for a little while, you might have come across stress and growth paths. And the stress and growth path in the Enneagram sounds complex. It's really simple. So if you've ever seen the Enneagram diagram, you'll know that it has a lot of lines all over it. Those relate to the stress and growth paths. And what that means is the Enneagram is built on this idea of dynamic stability. So I am Evie today. Let's say I'm on cycle day 10. And in 2 weeks' time, and in a week's time, I'll be cycle day 17, and I'm the same Evie then as I am now. My whole hormonal situation will be different. I'm a different Evie on cycle day 1, to cycle day 10, to cycle day 21, and yeah, I'm the same. And dynamic stability relates to this as well, meaning I am a type 1, but there are times when there's a lot of stress in my life and I begin to take on some of the behaviour of the type 4. And similarly, when life is really good, I move and begin to take on some of the behavior of the type 7. And so there's this idea of dynamic stability that I, as Evie, remain my main type always. I'm never not a type 1, but there are times there is ebb and flow to the existence of me that allows me to kind of move gently through the Enneagram. I can move back to type 4. I can move forward to type 7. And depending on your number, that is going to depend on your stress and growth paths. And they're not numerical. So if you're a 5, you don't go to 4 and 6. You actually go to 7 and 8. How strange. And if you want to learn more about that, please book in for a blueprint typing session. Stress and growth paths will blow your mind. They're absolutely incredible. The way that they put language around things that you maybe have been doing and feeling from a very, young age, I think you'll find it transformational. So if you know that, if you've done that kind of work before, either with me or by yourself or with somebody else, listen out for your stress path in this part of the session because it might be really helpful. Okay, back to type 1. So perhaps the disappointment for type 1 could sound something like, I should have done that better. I should have done that better. That wasn't good enough. I should have done that better. And so there's this tendency as a type 1 to hyper-focus in on what went wrong and where they have failed. And if we can reframe that idea that perfection is not the goal, progression is. It's not about being perfect. It never has, it never will be, it's not possible. The goal is progression. Have you progressed this year? And if some of you are saying, no, I haven't, I've gone backwards, I don't think that's true. And I'm not trying to be facetious or annoying, but I perhaps wonder if your definition of progression needs an update. Have you grown? Have you learned to cope with new things that you haven't walked through before? Try asking that question instead. Hyper-specific letting go ritual for you, type 1, would be making a list, a very detailed, because you know you're detailed, a very detailed list on everything that you have progressed in this year, everything that went well, everything that went right, everything that you did accomplish this year. And I want these to be specific. It doesn't matter how small they are, okay? And I want you to read that list back to yourself. Find a way to let go of the self-criticism and hold on and embrace the good enough. Embrace the list that you've just created. Give it a go. My affirmation I've created for you, type 1, is I release the need to be perfect. I celebrate my efforts and allow space for grace. Try using that as a bit of a mantra for the first few weeks of 2025 and see how you get on. Okay, let's talk about type 2, the helper. We have a Sophie dog. Okay. The disappointment for type 2 could sound something like, I didn't do enough for others. I wasn't there enough for others. And so there's this tendency to measure how helpful you've been, type 2, by how much you've helped or how much you've been needed by others. And so the reframe for you, type 2, is remembering that your worth is not tied to how much you give. It's innate. It's innate. That's true because you're here. It's true because you exist. It's nothing to do with the output. A very specific letting go ritual for you, type 2, would be to reflect on one relationship this year, during 2024, where you know you overextended yourself, where you know you gave too much. And to sit with those feelings and to name that relationship and to remember how it really honestly made you feel, and then set a boundary from that place of choosing to never go back to the overextension that you're feeling. And that boundary might look like writing a letter or writing a text. You don't have to send it. You might feel that you need to. And then keeping that somewhere that you can see, keeping it in your notes or popping a reminder in to reread it in 3 weeks' time when life has got busy again and that overextension is beginning to rear its head. My affirmation for you, type 2, is I release the need to overgive. I am worthy of receiving love and care. Okay, type 3, the achiever. I didn't reach my goals. I didn't reach the number in the bank I was hoping to get to. I didn't reach that promotion. I didn't reach that number on Instagram. I didn't reach my goals. And so there's this tendency, type 3, is to tie your identity to your external successes and accomplishments. And so the reframe for you is to remember that success is not about doing, it's about becoming. Okay, you didn't hit every single goal on your list, but what goals did you hit? Okay, you didn't hit every single professional goal, but what did you do really well in your personal life this year? How are your hobbies? Where are the other goals? Can we focus in on those? A very specific letting go ritual for type 3s would be to write a letter to yourself, to your 2024 self, where you acknowledge just how far you've come, where you can really hold on to just how far you've come, where you make space for acknowledging that physically, in reality, maybe even emotionally and spiritually. And the affirmation for type 3s that I've landed on is, I release the pressure to achieve. I am enough exactly as I am. Okay, type 4s, the romantic. Type 4 disappointment, problems with letting go might sound like I'm stuck. I'm stuck in what could have been. And so there's this tendency to dwell on unmet expectations and to dwell in the emotional depth of disappointment. And the reframe for you, type 4, is remembering and reminding yourself that every ending is a doorway that is going to open into something new. Letting go ritual for type 4s would be to create a mood board of everything that has felt disappointing. The colours, the words, the vibe. And on the other side of that mood board, if you can, to make a mood board of everything that went well, everything that was beautiful, everything that was amazing. And to consider, would I have been able to have these highs without the lows? That could be a really beautiful ritual for you, type 4s. And your affirmation that I've landed on is, I release the past. I welcome the beauty of what is to come. Okay, type 5s. The investigation. Your disappointment might sound something like, I didn't have enough time, or I didn't have enough resources. And there's this tendency to kind of retreat into analysis on what you didn't have this year. You know, focusing on where there was lack. And I think the reframe for type 5s is remembering that abundance begins with gratitude for what you have in the here and now, for what you have right now. And so the letting go ritual for you guys is really simple. It really is making a gratitude list. Type 5s are the most resistant to making a gratitude list. I don't know why that is. I'm still understanding that about you, type 5s. But I would love for you to list like at least 3 things that you've been grateful for in 2025. And I want you to do it without an air of annoyance, okay? I want you to be really grateful for all the things that have gone well in the past year, for where there was abundance and not just lack. Focus in on where the plentifulness is rather than scarcity, okay? And the affirmation that I've created for you is, I release the fear of not having enough. I trust that I am always supported. Okay, type 6, the loyalist. So for type 6s, it could sound something like, I wasn't prepared enough. I didn't plan enough. If I had only prepared more, if I had only planned more. And the tendency for type 6s is to worry both about what went wrong last year and then to hold on to that and worry about what is going to go wrong this year. And the reframe is, uncertainty is a part of life. I heard somebody say literally this morning, she's a psychologist, I heard her say this morning, there are two things in life that are certain. One of them is death, the other is uncertainty. And so, I think type 6s, you've heard me say it, you've heard Suzanne Stabile say it, you've heard other Enneagram teachers say it. I think life is maybe hardest for type 6s because you're afraid of fear itself. You're afraid of uncertainty, and that is a really difficult place to be. And we honour you so much in that, type 6s. If you are a type 6 and the uncertainty is feeling so overwhelming right now, we honour you so much in that. But look at how you've navigated everything that felt so uncertain last year. You're here. You did it. The letting go ritual for type 6 is to create a trust jar. Some of you are going to roll your eyes. If you haven't done it before, give it a go. I want you to create a trust jar and write down everything that you're feeling uncertain about and put it inside the trust jar. Let the universe, God, your higher self, you in 2 weeks, you can come back and read through the trust jar and make some decisions about it. Let that version of life hold it for you. You don't hold it right now. Allow somebody else to hold it. Yeah? You could even share the trust jar with a partner or somebody that you live with or a best friend. Let them hold the uncertainties for you. Your affirmation is, I release the need to control everything. I trust that I am both resilient and capable. Because you are. Okay, type 7, the enthusiast. The disappointment might sound like, I missed out on fill in the blank. I missed out on something better. The tendency for type 7s in this space is to focus in on missed opportunities, where life could have been more exciting, where life could have been better. And the reframe for type 7s is every experience is valuable, even the quiet ones, even the chilled Monday nights at home, even when plans get cancelled at the last minute and you don't have anything to do that weekend. Every experience is valuable. The letting go ritual for type 7s is to focus and reflect on the most meaningful moments of the year. And then I want you to notice if there were any on that list that weren't big or flashy. And I just want you to notice. Just notice in your body, notice in your heart how that feels. Your affirmation is, I release the fear of missing out. I embrace the joy of this present moment. This moment right now. Embrace it. Okay, type 8s. Disappointment for type 8s, the challenges could sound like, I just didn't have control over the outcome, and that was so disappointing. And the tendency for type 8s to feel really frustrated about situations where they felt powerless. Yeah? Of course, that's a big trigger for type 8s. And I think the reframe for type 8s is, strength is found in the moments when we surrender. And for some type 8s, they're going to be like, what? No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because your letting go ritual, this might help you understand it. Your letting go ritual is identifying one area where you delegated and it worked out. Where it worked out better than you thought. And allow your brain and your body begin to build trust from that memory, from that moment. And your affirmation is, I release the need for control. I can trust in the flow of life. And finally, type 9s, the peacemaker. Disappointments might sound like, I didn't do enough, or I didn't assert myself enough. And so the tendency there for type 9s is, because you already minimize your voice, you then also minimize what you have done. Yeah? And the reframe for type 9s is, I tried. I gave it a go. I tried. Yeah? I tried. And the letting go ritual is, kind of being inspired by that disappointment, setting out some bold intentions for this new year. Bold intentions where you will advocate for yourself, where you will assert yourself, where you will take up more space. And your affirmation is, I release the fear of being too much. I claim my space with confidence. I wanted to make space for a visualization in today's session. And so you might want to close your eyes. If you're watching me, you can carry on, of course. But if you have the space, you might want to sit back in your chair and you might want to close down the eyes. And let's just integrate what we've been talking about. Let's help all of these thoughts and feelings and responses land in the brain, in the heart, and in the body. And so you might want to notice the breath. You may want to deepen the breath. You may want to release a sigh. And I want you to picture everything that we've been talking about in today's session in notebooks and on paper. I want you to imagine you carrying those notebooks and those papers maybe in a folder, and you're maybe carrying that in a backpack or a bag. And staying with the breath, I want you to imagine walking along a path. And use your imagination to paint the backdrop. Are you in a garden? Are you at the beach? Are you somewhere very cold and snowy? Just notice where you are, carrying all these thoughts and feelings from today in a folder in your backpack. Just notice where you're walking along. And up ahead, you notice a gate that you need to walk through. It's part of the path. It's part of the plan. You know you need to walk through this gate. It looks really good on the other side of this gate. It feels like the right next step. And as you're approaching this gate, you notice that there is a filing cabinet next to the gate. Think, oh, what's that doing there? There's a filing cabinet. Okay. And as you get closer to the gate, you realise you're not going to be able to walk through the gate with all of those papers, with all of those different feelings, because they can't go with you any further on the journey. And as you walk up to this gate and this filing cabinet, it feels right to pop down your bag, take out your folder, and file these thoughts and these feelings and these disappointments. Feels right to file them away. And so you open the filing cabinet, and there's all these different tabs, and you begin flicking through. And some of them say disappointments, and some of them say joys, and some of them say best moment ever, and some of them say hardest moment ever. And you begin filing all these different moments away. And as you put each one in its right place, you begin to feel lighter. You begin to feel clearer. And everything has a place. There's no miscellaneous pieces of paper. Everything is filed away. And staying with your breath, when you're ready, all you need to do is simply close the filing cabinet. Here, you've shed the weight of disappointment. Here, you've made the space for clarity. And as that filing cabinet closes, the gate opens. And it feels right to take the next few steps. And as you look through the gate and down the path, you notice how clear and how comfortable and how inviting the path feels. Everything feels cool, calm, and collected. And you begin to take your next steps. And I invite you to take a deeper breath here, and maybe a pause. And you might just look around at the path and let your imagination fill in what you can see. But you'll notice that we didn't burn away the disappointments. You'll notice that we didn't put them in the rubbish or set them on fire. There's a time and a place for that. And you might look down in your bag and realize, yeah, there's something in there that needs to be burnt, or needs to be put in the rubbish, or needs to be put in the recycling. But you'll notice that by honouring your nervous system and taking enough time and holding enough space for what was, you can now begin to see what is. You can now begin to see what could be. And you might wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes as we come out of this visualization. But you might end by answering this question. What 3 things am I leaving behind? And what 3 things am I inviting into my life in 2025? I think that could be a really great place to spend some time journaling for the rest of the day, today or tomorrow or the day after, or whenever you're doing this. And as we come into land for this session, I would invite you to stretch, to shake around. Even now, you might want to rub your hands together. You might want to shimmy the shoulders. Just invite some energy, some movement back into the body. Do what you need to do. I also wanted to share that tomorrow I am booked in to have a massage at 2 p.m. That's right, on the 31st of December, I am spending some time before hosting some wonderful family friends in the evening, getting a massage because, and I wanted to share that because I feel like I've harped on for the past month about taking good care of yourself, and I just wanted to show you how I am taking good care of myself. And so that was a treat for me. I booked a while ago, and I am so very excited for it. And I just wanted to let you know that all of the kind of opinion and advice that I'm giving out, I am taking for myself as well. Guys, the craziest thing just happened. My phone died randomly. How weird. Anyway, if there's a jump scare, if in the visuals, if you're watching this, just I'm starting to lose the light. It's dusk. As I was saying, I'm taking good care of myself. I am going for that massage and I can't wait. But as we wrap up today's session, if you're feeling like today was really good, but you need a little bit more, you want something a little bit more specific and guided, then I would love to invite you to this season's seasonal reset class. Every season, I host an online meditation and journaling class. The autumnal one was scrummy and gorgeous and wonderful, and we've got the winter session coming up on the 13th of January. So if you would like to use stillness as your strategy, if you would like to join in with what nature is inviting us into, if you would like to dive into meditation and journaling and a little bit of New Year goal setting, then I would love to invite you to this class. The early bird tickets are still available. They're available until the 5th. So do scroll down through the show notes and make sure you make use of them. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for spending this time with me and for taking good care of yourself. If you're listening to this before New Year's, wow, I hope you have a really magical, lovely evening. And I will see you next week for our first episode of 2025. Take good care of yourself.
If Guided the podcast resonated with you, why not share it on your socials or send it to your friends? And if you have a spare moment, I would love it if you could leave me a review. These small gestures are free and they're invaluable in helping me amplify the reach of Guided the podcast, connecting us with more empowered women who are eager to increase their well-being. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop with our latest episodes. By subscribing, you'll stay connected and receive a weekly dose of inspiration directly to your inbox. Thank you for being a part of our community, for showing up, and for your commitment to personal growth and self-discovery. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and keep exploring the depths of your own inner wisdom.